I would like to commence by thanking Dr. Mohan for his very gracious invitation to me to join this extremely important, in fact invaluable gathering, and to congratulate Dr. Mohan and his group of institutions on the work that is being done by them for the large number of persons afflicted by diabetes, and thereby helping the families of those afflicted by diabetes to cope with the fact of diabetes in the family. Needless to say, I am no diabetologist, I am no doctor, and curiously, another disqualification I think for me to be here, I am not diabetic, not yet diabetic. A strong candidate though for diabetes. For the reason that both parents were diabetic, and when I mentioned this to Dr. Mohan at another gathering some time ago, he was a little taken aback by the fact that I had not yet joined the list. I shall take not much of your time because we have already overshot our schedule, but except to say a very few things, and I hope in very few words. At my age, which is 73, I dare not speak with any confidence after we have heard Dr. Gupta speak without a piece of paper in his hand and with such cogency. But I must speak with some detachment about not yet. My fear at this stage is not that I might become diabetic, but that I might be the bridge for diabetes to move from my ancestors to my descendants. For though lifestyle is now seen as a major source or cause for diabetes, the genetic factor has not gone away from calculations. The nose can breathe different kinds of air, but the shape of the nose is the shape of the nose. I would like to very briefly allude to the fact that when I was around 7, my father was found to have diabetes, and suddenly the household got completely transformed. This was in something like 1952 or 53. And suddenly the house had pipettes and powders and tests done on little slow burners and yellow and green colors on pipettes, and the word high, low, trace, all these entered our vocabulary. And the syringe. My mother and my sister were the gentlest of creatures who barely touched a needle to stitch a piece of cloth, were now becoming experts in administering insulin. And I used to watch with wonder and some fear as they practiced the art. But such was the time. The conversation also changed rapidly. And when friends came or we went visiting, conversation would tend around to gather around my father's condition. And then I heard things like, what a pity that when Lokmanya Tilak, the great Indian nationalist, when he contracted diabetes, insulin was not known. And when Tilak died on the 1st of August, 1920, that was just 1 year before insulin was found by Banting and Best on the 31st of July, 1921. And my father used to say, what a pity if Tilak could not have the benefit of insulin. If he had, he would have lived much longer. I think he was right. But then there is also such a thing as lifestyle. Tilak was in jail, and I don't think anyone advised him on how to manage his diabetes. I do not know if he was advised to walk. He was perhaps, but how seriously, I do not know. And when it came to my father again, At that time, though the insulin had come in and his life had been prolonged by some time, I don't think he had the benefit of certain medical instruments and instrumentation and technology like routine cardiac tests, which would have probably led to somebody recommending a bypass to him, for suddenly one day he had his first and final and fatal heart attack. My mother was a little better off because she came in to her knowledge of diabetes a little later when she was advised lifestyle changes and she followed them. And she reached a stage of perfect diabetic control in this very city. And when surgery for her cataract was required, she was asked to become not perfectly ideal, not just as a diabetic, but as anyone. All her levels were absolutely perfect. But that was several years ago. At that time, certain other forms of advice were not available, or not so easily available. Not just to the patient, but to the family of the patients. They were not quite advised on how important it is for a diabetic post-surgery to avoid infections. And a simple thing like cataract, from a level of perfect health, infection set in, and then nature took its course.